Este es un espacio patrocinado por T&BAO, la mejor oferta en nuestra ciudad, en Denver, Colorado. Hello, baseball lovers. So today we have a special interview with the big leaguer, Nick Castellano from Philadelphia Phillies. Thank you for being here.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Nick, right now, so you are having a great moment, you know? So your average is more than 300. So how do you feel in this moment?
Feliz, happy. You know, we won the past 2 games, and I feel good, so yeah.
Yeah, so you you are a player with a lot of experience. So you have played in 4 different teams in MLB. So how do you live this experience in 2023 right now?
Like, what do I think about it? First off, I'm very lucky. I'm fortunate to be playing baseball now almost 10 years in the big leagues. And having gone through 4 different teams, unfortunately, I've learned the business side, you know, that it's not just a game, you know, like it was when you were little. There is a lot of lawyers and business and projections and things like that, you know, that are for adults. But, you know, I've also learned to enjoy baseball and enjoy the people that I'm playing with and still compete and have fun.
So you were born in the south of Florida, okay? So it's a lot, you know, Latin American people, and part of your family is Latin American. You're from Cuba. So how was the beginning when you started to play baseball?
Well, the beginning was all my dad. You know, my dad wanted to be coming over from Cuba, and he wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. But my grandfather told him that, you know, they didn't come to the United States for him to play a game. You know, he had to go to medical school and be a doctor like my grandfather was, and that's what he did. So, you know, when me growing up, baseball was just as important as school. You know, I never really had an option if I could play or not play. It was just something that I've always done, and just looking back, playing, when I would do well, it made my dad really happy. And I liked making my dad proud, you know, so I kept with it, and now I'm here giving an interview.
Yeah. So you play in school, you play in high school. When did you discover that you had the talent for being an MLB player?
I mean, I don't know if you're going to believe me, but I mean, T-ball, you know, I still remember hitting my first home run and how it felt, and thinking like, man, like I want to just do this over and over again.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you some special days in your career. So please, can you tell us what do you remember? For example, the day when you signed your first contract.
Out of high school? I remember being more nervous about being away from home than signing for money. You know, I'm very fortunate that, you know, because my father grew up and was a doctor, that growing up I didn't want for anything, you know. We grew up with money. So I didn't really think about any of that. I was just more thinking like, man, I'm not going to be home for a month by myself. Yikes. You know, because at that age I've gone away and played baseball and stuff before, but for never that long. So I was nervous.
So you studied in Miami University, that's correct?
I went to high school. I didn't go to college.
Okay. Okay. So how was the process in minor league when you started to play?
Well, I was with the Tigers, and they did a great job of just allowing me to play. You know, coming up through the minor leagues, the majority of the time I was more working on learning new positions. Because I hit really well, I kept on moving up the stages very fast. But because the team in Detroit was good, they kept on moving me positions to try and find a spot for me. So really what I remember in the minor leagues are really long bus rides, good times with friends, and a lot of defensive early work on third base, left field, right field.
So you are an utility player. So at the beginning, like you say, so you start to play in shortstop, different positions. So how you help, your team right now? So a lot.
You're saying how do I help my team? Well, I mean, right now I'm only playing right field, so that's all I really focus on. But I mean, I think for me it's just being ready to play every day. Because first things first. Like if you don't play hard, you could say whatever you want, but you're not helping anybody. So first and foremost, play hard, and then after that, be a good teammate. Become friends with the guys around you. Learn who they are, what inspires them to be good, and figure out who needs a kick in the ass or a pat on the back.
So how was the sensation when you in your debut in MLB?
Also a little bit nervous. I remember it was a day game in September against the Indians, and I didn't start, but I got a pinch hit, and I think I had like 20 of my family members all there watching, and just like really realizing the moment of like me being in the big leagues, so just excited.
So do you remember your first hit?
I got a really soft infield hit off of Danny Duffy in Kansas City.
What about your first home run?
Off of Josh Beckett in LA, which was cool because when I was young, Josh Beckett was the ace of the Marlins when they beat the Yankees in the World Series. So I was at those games when he was, doing his thing.
Yeah. So you played the World Series. So can you tell us about that experience?
I mean, it's crazy. There's a lot of media, a lot of interviews just like this, a lot of cameras, a lot of questions, a lot of people, a lot of noise, but it's the same game. And I think, now having played in it, I think the biggest adjustment that I would make going into it, if I'm fortunate to play it in again, is the only thing I'm going to care about is the game.
So in this part of the interview, we want to know a little bit about your life. When you are not playing baseball, what do you like to do?
Just hang out with my family.
So do you like to play video games, something special?
I have kids, man. I can't play video games.
So what about your food, favorite food?
Anything my wife or my dad makes.
What is your favorite color and your favorite number, and why?
So my favorite number is 8, and that's because that was the number I was when I was little, and that's the number my dad was, so he just gave me that number, and I'm fortunate that I get to wear it now in the big leagues. And my favorite color depends what mood I'm in, man. If I'm angry, I like red. If I'm relaxed, I like green or yellow. If I'm happy, or I like blue. I don't know. Changes.
So are you a superstitious player?
Not really. Sometimes I'm the opposite of superstitious. Like if I'm doing something and I find myself trying to do the same thing only because I think it works, I'll do something different just to prove to myself that it's me and not if I put my socks on the same way or however.
So when you have maybe a bad day, how do you work your mind for the next day?
I mean, as soon as the game's done, as best you can, you get into the clubhouse, you start taking your jersey off and you start washing away the game. Whether it's a good game or a bad game, it's done. So you have to just start however and leave anything that you have at the field and then go home. For me, I have a wife and kids and stuff, so I can't go home and be just really happy if I have a good day or just really upset if I have a bad day. That's not fair to them.
So you have family, from Latin America. So can you describe maybe the passion, in baseball in this part of your family?
In the Latin side? Well, in Cuba, baseball is huge. Obviously in Cuba, people don't have all of the same opportunities that they have here in the United States. So when the government limits them on what they're able to eat and do and buy, a lot of people turn to games for their passion. Baseball happens to be one of them. And it becomes more than a game. It becomes, life. And, you take that passion that these people on that island have and you bring it over to the United States. It's not a coincidence that there are, so many good Cuban players in Major League Baseball even with the restrictions of not being able to leave the country freely.
Yeah, so my last question, sir, is about, can you tell a message for every kid that they dream to be in MLB like you?
So, I mean, I would say keep dreaming, because I'm here and I started as a kid with a dream. That's it. And, you know, I just stuck at it and stayed working and stayed dreaming, and I never changed. You know, I never, one day like soccer, one day like basketball, one day like skateboarding, one day like surfing. It was just always baseball.
So, Nick Castellanos, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. God bless you, and congratulations for your career.
Thank you.
Este es un espacio patrocinado por T&BAO, la mejor oferta en nuestra ciudad, en Denver, Colorado. Soy el periodista Abel Flores, acreditado para cubrir el béisbol de grandes ligas desde Colorado para el mundo, y te invito a seguirme en mi cuenta Amantes del Béisbol 2021, donde encontrarás contenido exclusivo, entrevistas, informes, reportajes, comentarios exclusivos de nuestros peloteros grandes ligas de Venezuela, República Dominicana, México, Puerto Rico, Panamá. Un contenido exclusivo que no encontrarás en ninguna otra plataforma, ni en televisión, ni en radio, ni en prensa. No esperes el noticiero de la noche, no tienes que leer la noticia del día de ayer. En esta plataforma multimedia te brindamos toda la información. Amantes del Béisbol 2021.
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.